Let's bring in America First Works Executive Director Ashley Hayek, RNC surrogate Mahek Cook, and Independent Women's Law Center Director May Mailman. Thank you all for coming on. Ashley, to you first. I want to put this up. Democratic lawmaker to Politico. The Playbook writes the following here. Why would we start talking about policy? We're actually better off just running on this real wave of enthusiasm and energy. It's the best thing Harris can do. I mean, they're better off running on nothing is the theme here, Ashley.
That's exactly right, which is why if you look at her website, it's full of donation buttons and merchandise and nothing with substance. They don't want to point out the fact that Kamala Harris is responsible for the deciding vote on the so-called Inflation Reduction Act scam, which raised the tax burden on middle-class families or expanded the IRS to target working-class Americans with audits. You know, she is the one that is basically empowering the IRS to do the tipped workers expansion as well. So all of her policies that she stood for her entire career is getting turned on its head because it doesn't work for the American people. The radical left knows it. She knows it. She's not even speaking on her record. She's having surrogates do it for her because it's so terrible.
Yeah, but they keep at it, and they keep at it. May Mailman, to you, the Washington Post, writes the following, the editorial board. Questions we'd love to ask Kamala Harris. Goes on to say, if she hopes to prevail, Ms. Harris needs to present her ideas. The media and public have legitimate questions, and she should face them. This is a political necessity. But is it? Because Democrats don't seem bothered by this whole, basement 2 campaign.
They're not bothered by it, which is why the Washington Post editorial board can talk about it. You're not going to lose an election by hiding in the basement. Who knows that Joe Biden, who not only campaigned from the basement, but spent his presidency in the basement and on the beach. And then when he popped his head up to debate, he got whacked and now he can't even run for president again. So the problem for Kamala Harris is not going to be hiding. The problem for Kamala Harris is going to be that 56% of Americans think that Joe Biden is too liberal. And Kamala Harris is more liberal than Joe Biden. So once people know who she is, they are not going to like it.
Yeah, they probably are not going to like it. This show, we have made sure it's always fast-paced. I hate playing 35-second sound bites, but this one is worth it. KJP today was asked in the White House press briefing about Kamala's achievements and her policies, and she gave 35 seconds of this, Mahek Cook, and I'll get your response.
I would say it's a comprehensive whole. Our accomplishments here, the Biden-Harris accomplishments, are the Biden-Harris accomplishments. She's played a role, whether it is being on the floor of the Senate, right, getting really important legislations to pass through, right, or being in the room with the president on trying to figure out how to move forward strategically with the policy or how to make tough decisions on behalf of the American people. She's been there. She has been there. These have been, and we've had, as you know, important moments. Historic moments, and she's been a critical partner.
Mahek, Kamala Harris could not have said it better herself.
Look, Trace, I think all the lying has been giving voters whiplash, but we finally know the truth. Those are the policies. It's the Biden-Harris policies. And we now know for a fact under President Trump, when we were paying about $1.86 for gas, $5 is the national average under President Biden. We had a Remain in Mexico policy, which meant that illegal criminals weren't crossing the border and staying in the United States. It's now an open border. So we're continuing to see these policies. And KJP just told us that Kamala Harris stands with Joe Biden. She's more liberal. Americans can't afford it. And we need to make sure that she is never in a high office. She needs to go and work a low-paying job and understand what every single American is feeling today, the pain under her administration, her economy, and that is how she's truly going to learn just the basics, Trace, because right now she needs to be out of office.
Okay, quickly around the horn, very quickly again. The New York Times says the following here. Blueprint, a Democratic group, recently tested 6 potential Republican lines of attack on Ms. Harris, including labeling her the border czar, and found that those involving immigration were the most effective, even more so than attacks related to the economy and inflation. So what they're doing, Ashley, is they are now lying about the border. That is task 1.
She's our border czar. We know it. They admit it. And she's in a horrible job at the border. One thing that she can take success for from an economic standpoint is how well the human traffickers and drug cartels have done with her in that leadership position. It's disgusting.
Yeah.
She's a weak, failed, and dangerously liberal politician.
To Larry County Sheriff Mike Boudreaux, because Kamala Harris put him in one of her ads and said, oh, yeah, well, this is what he said in response. The truth is Harris never cared about the cartels and did nothing to stop people from illegally crossing the border, May Mailman.
Yeah, people are rightly concerned that our country cannot survive another 12 million plus people crossing illegally. We don't know who these people are. There's not enough room. There's no room in the hospitals. There's no room in the schools. There's no room in our streets. And so it's not about what policy is better. It's that our nation cannot survive a Kamala Harris presidency.
Mehek, finally to you. I've got about 20 seconds for you. This whole concept about her going after the border, does it work?
It doesn't work because she's been in office for over 1,000 days and it continued an open border crisis. So this Hollywood extreme ad that she has is just lying to Arizona voters, Nevada voters, and every swing state. Do not fall for her lies.
Mehek Cook, May Mailman, Ashley Hayek, thank you all.